Hello, and we're here to talk about Epstein. But first,
Got a document that every American ought to see. This here is a list of 146 outstanding communists in the State Department. Each and every one of these 123 names has been thoroughly investigated by the FBI. We're going to take these 94 guys and throw them in jail where they belong. The whole 62 of them, believe me. You get a list with 38 names on it like that, and you know how to work with it. We know how to handle these 17 commies. Not one of the five of them will get away. And when that guy shows up, he's in trouble, pal, I'll tell you that.
uh, it seems like nothing has changed. Anyways, we're reacting to Some Ordinary Gamer's video. I watched 2 minutes of this so far, and I realized I wasn't recording. So here we go again.
Hello, guys and gals, me Mutahar, and one thing that we probably shouldn't stop talking about is Jeffrey Epstein. Now,
Yup.
for the last few weeks, I would actually say the last few years, one of the most intriguing plots regarding a human trafficker, a convicted human trafficker, a dead human trafficker, the dead human trafficker's partner, and that human trafficker's relationship to some of the most powerful people on earth have been brought into question. Now, some would probably say, guys, it's long over, it's done.
It is not whatsoever. There's always going to be that one guy that's going to say, hey, Trump, what about the Epstein files? What happened to that?" Anytime you're talking about anything political, there's going to be that one fucking guy that's going to be like, "Well, what about the Epstein files?" And honestly, rightly so. What about the Epstein files? What the fuck happened to them?
No, it's not actually. When I was a kid, one of the things they taught us in school was like Watergate. And Watergate wasn't even, I would say, close to as intense of a scandal as this. Because this kind of a scandal really shows that, for most.
Watergate, I remember learning about this. It was really just a telecommunications spy thing that they did on politicians. Which compared to the shit that's not really all that mainstream, it's it's nothing. It's like a drop in the fucking bucket.
Most people, obviously, we all want to see individuals who harm children or anybody, just human beings in general, put behind bars. But more importantly than that, if that person is facilitating tons of people to, also harm a bunch of individuals in this crazy elite, world that they have, right? Something they often just talk about in like science, like
The deep state. Words. The deep state. Some people think it's the government, some people thinks it's like a bunch of CEOs and companies. I think it's all of the above to an extent. Like everyone is connected to that shit in some way, shape, or form. Exactly how? I don't fucking know. But it's not fake. That I know for sure.
Hollywood movies or like some crazy shit that needs to also be stopped. Now, I want to just kind of recap where we're at, ladies and gentlemen, to give you an idea of how wild situations have become. Back in February of this year alone, the Attorney General of the United States, basically the top cop in the country, Pam Bondi, went out and said, that Epstein client list is sitting on my desk right now to review. And, this is a actual campaign promise. I don't want you to ever forget, by the way, that this is the entire, like, party that wanted to drain the swamp of all the bad stuff out there. Now that people in their party are asking them, hey, can we actually drain the swamp? Nothing seems to be happening.
Which, like, even with with Tulsi Gabbard coming out saying all this stuff about Obama making up the Russia Trump hoax, like they don't just do that for no fucking reason. They're doing it for they're doing that because they know something. And if any of it's fucking true, I want Obama in jail, in prison, in whatever fucking hole you can dig up, and then leave him there for treason. Hell, I'm okay with the death penalty for that shit. You can't commit treason and then continue to be a millionaire. I'm sorry, but no. Take all his assets, take all of everything, and then put him away. Like, I don't know why that's so hard to fucking do.
Now, I want to start off by saying, obviously, I think that everybody from any side of the aisle is pretty much implicit in this list. I think there's a lot of people, both on the left and the right, who are
Probably
actually
true.
involved in this. There's enough photos with good old Clinton as there are with Trump. So I don't want to make this like a big political issue. If
Yeah, and people just want to know the truth. So, if any of these people were actually involved with the bad stuff, yeah, put them away. Fucking wood chipper, fucking penis guillotine. Like, this shit's not okay and should not be treated like it's nothing.
there are people in the top that are the elite that control the world that have allegedly done some really bad things, I think it's worth exposing that. And if exposing that means we tear the world to the ground, because
Dog,
nobody needs to
yeah.
know this information, otherwise, we should just burn the world.
Yeah. Why the fuck do we want a world run by pedophiles? Nobody wants that. What the fuck? Oh, it's gonna cause a lot of bullshit in the world and it's gonna Okay. Good. It shouldn't be like this.
World to the ground. I think that's a pretty normal, healthy way of looking at things, okay? The world should not hinge on the backs of victims in this story. Anyways, next in February 27, 2025, the entire Department of Justice revealed a bunch of evidence about Jeffrey Epstein. So immediately, if you go over to this page right now, which is fully available, the actual AG released the first phase of these Epstein files. And a lot of the influencers walked around the White House with these big ass fucking binders talking about transparency. They walked around with binders consisting
of information that we already knew, if I remember correctly. Like, all this shit already came out, like, 3 or some years ago.
of all this information.
Or 6 or some years ago. Whenever the first Epstein shit came out.
That we will look through right here. Now, again, these influencers, some of them may not actually be pressing this issue, but this is just first phase. We were expected a second phase. We were expected maybe a third phase. We were expected full transparency. So if you look inside the actual evidence list really quick over here, this is actually all the evidence, digital and general, that the government recorded. So in some cases, you have actual computers like this Lenovo Tower, these Mac desktops, and obviously, should we be entitled to the contents of this information, provided that content isn't CSAM, something that would be...
Yeah, no, don't release any of the fucking shit that we shouldn't be having anyways. But you should at least give descriptions of what the fuck, what type of stuff was found in those computers. We need to know at least what the fuck was in there.
Illegal to distribute. Obviously, I think we should. And of course, there's more situations that distribute this information, provided that content isn't CSAM, something that would be illegal to distribute. Obviously, I think we should. And of course, there's more situations, more things that they found here. Amongst the other piece of evidences that existed the entire time, too, that we all basically knew about, were these flight logs. About a year ago, I looked at these flight logs myself, and I want to just preface this by saying just because people's name is in these flight logs, which a lot of powerful people, I believe Trump included, is actually in this list, it's not indicative of any criminal action.
It just means that there's some sort of connection. And that connection needs to be further investigated. That is a fact. It's not a fact that they did anything wrong, but it's a fact that they need to be looked into. That you can't just be like, oh, well, it's probably fine. No.
Just because I guess
not at all.
People share their private jets or sometimes fly together, this list was not indicative of anything bad. I just want to make this an abundant fact. Okay, I want to be as objective on this shit as possible because it's important.
I agree.
Next thing that was released was this contact book, and a lot of people in the media dubbed this the Little Black Book. And not just because your name is in Jeffrey Epstein's contact book isn't necessarily
my headcanon is that Epstein was a spy of some sort, and he needed to get all these people in line somehow. And how'd they do it? You can, get evidence against them and blackmail and bullshit. And of course he's gonna have a book of a bunch of people's names and phone numbers so he can contact them whenever. That's like I got a feeling every millionaire has a book with a bunch of other millionaire numbers and shit.
Indicative of evil, right? Again, he knew a lot of powerful people, okay? A lot of people
A
he
lot.
networked with around the world. Now, again, the nature of what his connection with some of these people are is in question. And that's one thing the government, I believe, doesn't really want the people to know. Of course, the next is the misuse list right here.
For some fucking reason, which I just find so weird. It's like, what do you mean you don't want us to know? Like, why? If anything, we should know whether or not the people in government are pedophiles or not. I feel like that's pretty dang important when voting for someone.
Here, which is all redacted. Obviously, I imagine every single masseuse on this list might actually be a victim, okay? Now, what's wild about this masseuse list is the more and more you look into it, a few weeks ago, even Trump
That's
came out and
fucked.
said that Epstein apparently stole young female workers from his Mar-a-Lago resort. So it's just wild to me to see all of these things lining up together. Again, you know, nothing here is necessarily. I guess you could say we're looking at a lot of circumstantial stuff, but obviously when this came out, this kind of like statement, I think a lot of people were really shocked. Like, what do you mean young female workers, right? Like, how young? All right. And first off, why is he poaching from your organization? How close are these two people that Epstein is out there just grabbing these young women from one of his like
It's
cheap
weird.
resorts?
It
It's
is.
insane to
It's
think about,
weird.
right?
It's insane.
One would imagine that this is probably like, if you really extrapolated it, you're almost looking at like maybe some first tier network into like human trafficking, right? Again, if you were to look at it in the most like intensive ways. But that's really where people's want of transparency comes from, right? Why is it that these guys ran on this campaign promise that said, yeah, we want to drain the swamp. We want to fucking reveal who's out there harming the actual innocence of the world. And when, you know, it's time for that check to be cashed, nowhere do they want to accept it. And the thing is, obviously, this is the government. And I want you to
It's
kind of look at the government as like a corporation. You're all basically a part of it. You pay taxes into the government. You're a shareholder. In some ways, some shareholders.
I, it's so fucked. It's so fucking weird that we can't. They don't want us to know the truth behind the world and how it's ran. And I'm not liking that aspect of life, really.
May be more powerful than others, but every single one of those people, the taxpayers, the people who make up the government, because it's a conglomeration of the people, should at least get some actual transparency when it comes to the investigations of one of the most evil people on the planet, or used to be on the planet. Now, of course, as we all know, the beginning of July came by, and the FBI literally just declared that there was no client list.
I don't think I have to replay that short again, right? It's like nothing ever changes. It's like, what the fuck?
Obviously, we went from, okay, the client list exists and it's sitting on my desk, to now we have no client list. And even Pam Bondi was like, hold on a minute, I said that I had the files. I didn't know exactly if I had a quote unquote client list. So, okay, fine. Maybe she like missaid some things. And of course, people were questioning what was actually happening. Like, what was there a list or was there not a list? But of course, the more we went into it, there were people allegedly thinking of quitting the FBI, like revolting from their party because they didn't.
I half think that Bongino and Patel were kind of just optics, or doing things for optics. I feel like there was no chance they were gonna quit over this.
Expect this situation to blow up the way they did. They thought that maybe there was going to be some transparency. So, of course, then a few weeks later, President Trump comes out and basically says that maybe this case is a scam. Maybe it's a hoax that those Democrats are organizing. Maybe they put things in these files.
Overly interested in it. You know, it's a hoax that's been built up way beyond proportion. I can say this, those files were run by the worst scum on earth. They were run by Comey. They were run by Garland. They were run by Biden and all of the people that actually ran the government, including the Auto Pen. Those files were run for 4 years by those people. If they had anything, I assume they would have released it. The whole thing is a hoax.
So, were there no sex trafficking then from Epstein's Island? All those victims are fake? They didn't exist? What the fuck? What the? Did you expect us to actually believe you when you said this, Trump? Like, what the fuck are you on?
They ran the files. I was running against somebody that ran the files. If they had something, they would have released. Now, they can easily put something in the files that's a phony.
And them putting something in the file, I got a feeling that's why he didn't want to release it after he found out that he was in the files. And then, what's it called? Elon, before this all came out, was like, Trump's in the Epstein files. It's crazy shit. It's a wild fucking world right now.
I want to start off by saying that I really think if these files release, both those Republicans and those Democrats and people that are not even aligned to these parties are all going to get some level of exposure because, like I said, this was a huge network of some of the most powerful people in the world. When you're that powerful, it doesn't matter what side of the party you're on. You're all playing the same fucking game. And that's why I really think that it's not just the Republicans not releasing it, it's also the Democrats that didn't release this shit as well too. You know, if you really look at it, both sides are really just scared of what's in these files or what happens if the information here comes to light. At this point, I think the Epstein files probably needs to be like a War Thunder a thing, just so we can have some level of leakage come out. And honestly, I really think that's the only way these files are actually going to come out. But the other thing about these files releasing now is I think for most people, they will not believe if these files actually did release like today, that nothing was tampered. I think we're at this point where obviously there's some expectation of real tampering going on in this entire story. So obviously
Bro, just Lane's out and about now. What, like, for work-related reasons. Now, I heard someone tell me it's because she's doing investigations to figure out if she can get more info on stuff. I don't fucking know. I'm gonna take all that shit with a grain of salt until someone's actually in jail. Because this shit isn't okay. Or not someone, multiple people. Because this isn't a one-man operation. It clearly fucking wasn't.
We went from the files exist to they don't exist to now it might be a scam by the other party. So I don't know exactly what's going on here, but this is by far one of the worst cover-ups I've ever actually seen when it comes to the government trying to hide this. Now, one of the big things about this story was the Epstein jail footage. Now, you probably have seen this footage. It's like over like 10 hours of allegedly...
And it's tampered to hell.
Like raw footage that the government dug out from the actual DVRs at the prison that Jeffrey Epstein was at and released to the public. Well, the cover-up is so bad, ladies and gentlemen, that you, with just your computer, can disprove the government's, assessment of this being real footage. So inside this FBI memorandum that we have over here, this is one thing that the feds released alongside this transparency. So these are files relating to Jeffrey Epstein, but what's most important over here was the FBI released what they claimed to be relevant footage. And of course, in some cases, they released a non-edited version, what they claim the full raw, and then the enhanced video, which would be video file 2. We're not interested in video file 2 if it's modified. We would be interested in what the government claims to be the full raw video. Now, full raw in this case means that you went to the actual recording system, you pulled the video file off of it, and you just presented it. And the way that we can prove this is through device metadata. And I'm going to show you how to do that.
I don't fully understand all of this part, but it is very interesting that these people that do understand what the fuck these things mean is coming out and saying, hey, this is all fucked. This is all tampered with. This is not the raw footage.
You don't have to trust any article.
And by just looking at the video, it does look like it's tampered. Like, there's a whole fucking minute missing, and according to some, it's some parts replayed.
Or a YouTuber like me to tell you, you can do this yourself and I highly recommend you do just so you can verify the facts for yourself. Now, obviously, the government says that the Epstein died by suicide. It's further supported by this video footage from the common area of
Supported by the video footage that shows literally nothing.
the special housing unit, also known as a SHU in prison, which is where they put some of the most important prisoners at, okay? Some of the most rowdy ones, the ones that they're really watching for. So Epstein was housed at the time. The DOJ general explained in 2023, anyone entering or attempting to enter the tier where Epstein was located would have been captured by this footage. So remember that very carefully. This footage is supposed to be the entry point of the SHU. If this is going to be the apparent only sole source that you can dig into if you want to see who was walking in and out. Now, you've probably seen all the memes already of like, you know, fucking people AI generating Agent 47 and all that crazy shit. But we're about to look at the real raw footage. So here inside the system, I've actually got the actual video file, and the video file is probably around 21 gigabytes in size. And of course, if we just watch this together really quickly, this video footage is, again, just apparently the actual camera capturing the inside of what appears to be, you know, the entrance to the SHU. So you can see the background of this prison, you can see the entry points here, and so on and so forth. Now, obviously, keen observers looked carefully at this, and they had seen that there was some footage that was just missing. The camera, like, completely connected or, like, you know, skipped a minute. And according to Pam Bondi and the people who had answered for this, they had said there was just a part of the system where, like, every night there's, like, a minute where the footage stops and then it restarts. Kind of like a mechanical thing. Now, that's almost believable, until, of course, you actually start digging through the footage yourself. So one of the things you want to do with these video files is pull up metadata. Now, assuming you're underneath Linux, you can do this with Windows or Mac. Generally, you need a few tools. You need things like FFmpeg, you need things like Gawk, you need things like Media Info, and you need ExifTool, right?
I know none of
being
those.
the most important of these. So as soon as you have the video one right here present, you can basically do a full metadata dump. So if I open up a terminal over here, what I can do is type in the word ExifTool, and then of course, I think it's -A, space capital G1 -U -S, video one, and then I want to get out the ExifTool full.txt. So this creates a file on my system that I can pull up and actually pilfer through to get all the information from this EXIF file. Now, to make this a little bit easier for the audience to see, we're going to pull out what's the most relevant of the stuff through a command known as grep. So using commands like grep, I can pull out things like creator tool, software, toolkit, and because we know from past videos that Adobe Premiere was caught in, we'll just give this an enter and we'll see exactly what got pulled out. So for instance, you started to see things like Adobe Media Encoder, which is a dead giveaway that this project was.
It just means that it's not raw. They put it through a fucking software. That's not raw footage. Already disproving what the FBI was saying about it.
At least rendered from Adobe's like Media Encoder tool. Now, of course, we can go even further and see if there were other artifacts or multiple videos stitched together, which is where the big claim actually comes out from. So using the same ExifTool tool as well, you can actually type in this command, ExifTool-X video one, and then basically get this XML file exported from it. Now, of course, you can read through this XML file all you want, but we'll dig out the relevant things via grep again. So using this grep command, which is grep-n capital E XMP DM ingredients and then RDF-LI, we can start to see that there were multiple times where this project file was created and it was closed. We can see numerous times, of course, when this project file was actually saved in this instance. And of course, we can see that this was obviously under Adobe Media Encoder.
Jesus.
But the big smoking gun in this situation, ladies and gentlemen, appears to be these two stitched files that came out of the artifacts. So you can see 2025, 522, and you can see two different times here. So this appears, at least in this case, that the government did not give us the raw footage. They gave us two fucking files stitched together. And so now you know how to verify this for yourself. Now, according to the information provided.
So yeah, that's really just like explaining how we know it's not the raw footage.
Here, the actual metadata through the ingredients showed that apparently around 2 minutes and 53 seconds didn't actually make it to the release, meaning the raw actual file had 3 minutes that we've never seen in the exported release that the government provided. So what happened in those 3 minutes? Do we fucking know? Did somebody go into the shoe, kill the guy, and then leave? I mean, these are questions that are worth asking. The government failed to cover this up so hard that anybody with a computer and basic terminal know-how can confirm this information for themselves. So if you think believing the government...
I find it so fucking weird. The government, the people that's supposed to be hiring and using the most educated, the most intelligent, the most capable of people, fucked up this fucking hard. It's just weird.
Now, or at least, this is why you shouldn't stop talking about Epstein. This is why you shouldn't stop mentioning it. Because not only is this one of the worst cover-ups, but it's also one of the most insulting cover-ups that I've ever actually seen in regards to one of the most evil guys out there. So one of the things about this was, obviously, when people looked into it, this is from like CBS, they actually looked into the claim that this came...
I have not seen this. So I'm assuming this is where the camera is, that corner, or somewhere around there. That's Epstein's cell, I'm assuming, the red one. Interesting.
Footage showed the entrance to the shoe. So according to CBS News, the entrance to the cell as well as the primary entrance to the shoe are actually off camera in the same direction, meaning that there's no way to tell from that video if he went to the cell or exited the shoe. And they provide a diagram where, again, they show what they're actually talking about over here. They show what could actually be the blind spot. So according to the experts, just before 10:40 p.m., an orange shape is seen moving up the stairs leading to the Epstein's tier. The report says, through review and analysis of the shoe video footage, witness statements, and Bureau of Prison Records, the OIG determined that at approximately 10:40 p.m., a corrections officer believed to be Noel carried linen or inmate clothing up to the L tier, which was the last time any correctional officer approached the only entrance to the shoe tier in which Epstein was housed. So again, the video forensic experts over here who reviewed that footage, again, by CBS News, were pretty skeptical about the interpretation and suggested that that shape could be a person dressed in an orange prison jumpsuit climbing the stairs. So yeah, there are some serious questions to be asking over here. Because again,
Very
the more
weird.
people look into this video and the more questions get raised, ultimately you can't really cover this up, okay? It's out there for the world to see. We've already assessed and looked through the metadata. We've already looked at every frame possible, and there's still more discrepancies than what we just started. And again, according to a report from, I believe this is 2023, June 2023, this investigation and review of the BOP's custody, care, and supervision of Jeffrey Epstein. They even mentioned the limited available video evidence, or recorded video evidence from August 9th and 10th for the shoe area where Epstein was housed was only available from one prison security camera due to a malfunction of MCC's New York's digital video recorder system. I want you to remember, this was a pretty high profile.
How convenient, right? The camera that would have seen everything isn't working. How so fucking convenient.
Prison, right? Like, it's just convenient that you have one of the most prolific criminals, one of them in your actual organization, and somehow your security systems are just fucking up. So basically, inside over here, what they talk about was obviously the camera. The available camera captured a large part of the common area of the shoe and portions of the stairway leading to the different shoes tiers, including Epstein's cell tier. Thus, anyone entering or attempting to enter Epstein's shoe tier from the shoe common area would have been picked up by the video camera, which it kind of does seem like we have something based on that one blip that we were just looking at. The OIG reviewed the video and found that between approximately 10:40 on August 9th and about 6:30 on August 10th, no one was seen entering the Epstein cell tier, which now I guess could be a little bit debatable. So look, at the end of the day, right, the footage seems incredibly problematic. It does.
Yeah.
Because, if there was ever a reason to look at conspiracy theories, this would be it, right? And this is
I mean, it's always worth looking into it, because if there's no clear evidence that it's not a conspiracy theory, and there's no clear evidence that it is, I mean, how do I put this? it's always good to look into these conspiracy theories because there's no evidence that's capable of completely disproving it, and there's no evidence that can completely prove the conspiracy theory to be true. So you have to ask questions. It's just a need. You need to, if not, then shit like this will continue to happen.
Party that has pretty much profited off of the most insane conspiracy theories. This conspiracy theory, on the other hand, is actually not that insane, okay? Because again, there are so many discrepancies that just off the top of anyone's head, every normal person would be questioning what's been happening. Now, when it came to the cameras, they said that all of these issues came from, again, broken cameras, broken problems of these cameras that just existed for apparently quite a long time, too. Which, again, makes you wonder that if these were long-standing issues, why even...
And it's a maximum security prison. Why the fuck is a maximum security prison not have the best fucking video technology that they can have? That shit should be in tip-top fucking shape all the time. Why is it not? It's so fucking weird.
Move them to that prison or have these issues addressed in the first place. Like, come on now. This is an actual serious case that you should have taken care of. And they handled it like they were just some random fucking country. This is the United States of fucking America. If anyone is an expert on imprisoning people, it is definitely the US of fucking A. That is for goddamn sure. Now, of course, what is left out of Epstein? Obviously, there is one person that is still connected. Epstein's right-hand gal, who's still alive, but serving a sentence. Somebody known as Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, because of the Epstein client list not existing, some even wondered, man, should she be in prison for a crime that I guess doesn't really actually exist? But no, if we can actually look more into, Ghislaine Maxwell, she really was the right hand of Jeffrey Epstein. Allegedly there was a lot of women that, were kind of brought in by her to Epstein. So she is, I would say, as complicit in these, disgusting crimes.
Yeah, she knows shit.
As complicit as somebody like Jeffrey Epstein. So in a normal, healthy, civilized world, no one would want her to be freed. So, of course, looking further into what's been going on, she had actually started talking to the Department of Justice. Now, people wondered that, oh my God, during this entire thing, if she's talking to the government, maybe she could say whatever the fuck she wants.
Yeah.
She wants to say and get out. Maybe she...
Like, here's the thing, right? Sure, have her talk to the government, listen to her, but you need to actually do investigations on whatever the fuck she's talking about. You can't just be like, oh, it was this person, and that person. Okay, because you told us that information, we're gonna let you go. No, you don't fucking do that. You're gonna have to go investigate, make sure it's fucking true, and then maybe not give her the death penalty. Man. Because here's the thing, if we don't fucking know anything, here's the thing, tell her whatever the fuck you want, right? You can tell her, oh, we're gonna free you, whatever. Okay. Don't. Just don't free her. Let her tell you everything, and then leave her in jail. That's my opinion on this shit. Why the fuck are you giving any sort of fucking reward to someone that did some such fucked up shit?
Could clear out from. You wouldn't have to believe her testimony. She's just saying it. And obviously people were wondering that there's definitely a conflict of interest involved here.
100%.
Well, this month, August 1st, Maxwell was transferred from FCI Tallahassee, which was a low-security federal prison, to federal prison camps in Byron, Texas. Now, the thing about these minimum security prisons is that, people have this idea that prison is like the most disgusting place to be in. And that's true, right? Like if you're in a maximum prison like ADX Florence, you never get to see sunlight. You never get to have human contact. It literally is living in hell. But...
Bro, I used to work in FedEx and deliver packages to the correctional facility. It's a prison. And I would see people walking around in the yard with iPads. Bro, they have fucking iPads in prison. They're just allowed to have them. It's like, what the actual fuck?
If you live in one of these low-income, not low-income, but low-security facilities.
And that's the type of prison she's in. The type of prison where she gets to use the iPads and watch TV and buy commodities and shit with the money she has in the real world. What happened to her money? Let me do a little bit of I don't know how to spell her actual name. There's no that Ghislaine Maxwell's assets were ever seized. However, specific asset seizures have been documented as part of legal proceeding. Okay, so properties. Financial scrutiny and reported assets. During the 2020 bail hearing, Maxwell claimed a net worth of 3.5 to 4 million, but prosecutors argued she failed to disclose significant assets, including Swiss bank account. Okay. Potential assets. Given the complexity, finances, a lack of comprehensive detail in this is scarce. It's unlikely that all her assets were seized, as some may be hidden in trust or offshore accounts. The New Hampshire property seizure is the most concrete example, but the full extent of asset forfeiture remains unclear. So we don't even know if we took all her money away. Did we take any money? Oh my goodness. Based on available information, it's not explicitly stated all just, okay, money is seized, but significant asset seizures and financial losses have occurred as part of her legal proceeding. So, it's not clear that we took all her money, but she spent a lot of money in court. The fuck? Yeah, so nothing. Money and assets have been seized or sold, such as the. Not all her wealth has been taken, as some remain in undisclosed accounts. The lack of transparency in financial dealings with. Okay, so we don't know. I got a feeling we didn't take fucking squat.
Some liken it to a country club, you know, where you just get to live, like you get to live, and again, you're still locked in technically, but you're not living like pigs and shit anymore. Okay, this is a more comfortable place. Now, should somebody that is a alleged human trafficker, somebody that has been, I guess, convicted at this point, you don't even really need to say the words alleged. If she has a 20-year sentence for this, why the fuck is she at a low security fucking prison wing?
Yeah,
it makes no sense.
For real.
Why? So, of course,
why allow her to live comfortably? It makes no sense to me. What she did and what she allowed is atrocious. It's heinous. It's despicable. It's fucked. It's that fucking cut and dry. Like, why the fuck are we giving any sympathy to these fucking pedophiles?
Deputy Attorney Todd Blanche, okay, literally was actually talking. She provided information, allegedly, apparently, up to like 100 actual individuals connected to this network. And of course, she stated that Trump did literally nothing inappropriate in her presence, which obviously I'll leave up to you if you want to believe it, because hey, maybe she got a sweetheart. Maybe this is her working towards a sweetheart deal. You know, there's a lot of talk of her being pardoned, and even, you know, Trump just said, you know, I can do it.
Consider a pardon or a commutation for Ghislaine Maxwell if
It's something I have.
He says this about every fucking question about pardons. He said this with Diddy. He said this with Ghislaine. Who the fuck else he say it with? Or two? Or four? He said the same thing with the. I actually don't remember. I can't say that. I'm not sure if he said the same thing when it came to the J6 people.
Thought about. It's really
If they
something.
recommended it,
It's some, I'm allowed to do it, but it's something I have not
you're
thought
not, but
about.
you wouldn't go.
Not that he actually wants to do it, so far as I know. But again, her making these kind of claims underneath this presidency, you have to imagine, right? There's no
She can't be pardoned, bro. She can't. I'm sorry, but no. It's just no, dude.
way the testimony she's giving, like if she wants to get that pardon, she can't say anything bad against Trump. Like that's just logical, okay? Like what is she gonna do? She's gonna say like, yeah, he was diddling a whole bunch of people. You think she's gonna get the pardon then? Now if she blames all of his political enemies, maybe she's more likely to get that pardon. Which again, people can think like a pardon almost feels like you can buy your way out of a crime. And
Yeah.
right now it really does seem like with the amount of people asking about the Epstein files, maybe she might be able to.
I mean, look how many pardons Biden Biden's auto pen did before he went out of office. He pardoned a lot of fucking people, including his own son, which, bro, that's a conflict of interest if I ever fucking seen one.
Find a way out of this, okay? Because realistically, what's stopping Donald Trump from issuing that pardon? What, a whole bunch of people getting mad? Bro, the guy's entire political aisle is a cult. They'll believe whatever he wants. There's only a few people that I've talked to from that side that are actually holding the dude to task. And now the thing is,
I mean, honestly, it's yeah, 100%. Like these people go way too fucking far. The people just go way too fucking far, man. They just do. It's so sad. It's annoying, and it muddies the conversation for the people that actually care, the people that are actually logical about this shit. You can't have a honest conversation because another person's gonna be like, but but dick.
obviously,
Like, shut the fuck up.
this is the kind of injustice that this organization fought against. But seeing that somebody is living in a country club prison now, possibly on the verge of coming out, is just shocking. And of course, it wasn't just that. Obviously, a side tangent, even like P. Diddy's lawyers, who's also involved in another serious human trafficking case, also got in touch with the presidency. So again, for a
Which is
party that was built on
fucking
justice and
wild.
draining the swamp, they sure as hell have a lot of people coming out begging for clemency. People that have been, accused and convicted in cases of some of the worst crimes imaginable. Now, one of the things that I kind of wanted to end this video off.
I don't know what the fuck's worse than that. Maybe like genocide. But like, dog, that crime. I don't even like saying it. Bro, pedophiles commit one of the worst crimes. I would argue the worst fucking crimes a singular person can do.
On was obviously with Ghislaine Maxwell, right? Like there's a lot of things that are poorly covered up. But one thing that came out that I kind of want to talk a little bit about is that on a podcast, it was actually brought up that Ghislaine Maxwell, her custody level was apparently considered out, which meant that in terms of a minimum security campus where she was staying at, you could basically be allowed for work assignments. Now, why would somebody like Ghislaine Maxwell, who probably has
Yep.
good money sitting around her, tons of money, she never has to work again. Why the fuck?
So yeah, she still has money. Here's the thing. Take all of it. The fuck? Like, these people you can't just forgive and forget. No, you fucking take everything they ever owned, and then you put them in a hole and leave them there. If they're lucky, they might get some food. Personally, death penalty is what should be given to most of these fucking people. The ones that actually committed shit, death penalty. If they didn't, but they were trying to, penis guillotine. That's what the Noxomicon says, alright?
But you need a work assignment. Like, why? Where's she gonna go work? Who's gonna hire her? There's a big satchel of questions you can ask here. But this program actually reminds me of something that even Epstein had all the way back then, which is absolutely wild. For anybody that doesn't remember, back in 2008, 2009, one of the first sentences that Epstein had gotten in Florida, he was given the most sweetheart deal. So basically, he pled guilty in Palm Beach County to 2 charges: soliciting prostitution, and procuring a person under 18 for prostitution. Now, because of these, he was sentenced to 18 months in a Palm Beach County jail. So it wasn't a state prison, it was a county jail. Now, this is where the interesting part comes in. He was given work release as well. Now, the thing about work release is usually, if you're a nonviolent offender, you get this towards the end of your sentence. But he got this literally a few months into the sentence. So what that basically meant was he could leave the jail 6 days a week, about 12 hours a day, and work from his office in West Palm Beach. So basically, you get to be a prisoner, but you get to leave the prison and live some good life.
Which is just stupid. It's like, what the actual fuck is our system? And why does it work that way?
And apparently, investigations show that people had visited him. Young women actually came to his office. So again, was he really incarcerated? I mean, on paper, yeah. But I mean, if I get to leave the prison and enjoy life, and the prison is basically where I sleep, is it really being imprisoned? Are you really actually paying for your fucking crimes? In fact, it actually came out that he had his own private wing in jail, like his actual private wing. He was having his own private security detail when he was outside. Didn't even need the actual like government like boys. And of course, beyond all of it, he was rarely inside the jail compared to somebody who was actually an inmate. They were both inmates. Epstein just got actual like special, super special privileges. And
Man, what if this guy's not dead?
again, the problem is if you're a sex offender, which is what Epstein's crimes were when he was sent to Palm Beach County, he wouldn't be allowed for a work release. Yet he got one. And then in 2019, obviously, this was a actual violation that even Palm Beach's sheriff office had actually admitted to. So the thing is, even when it came to his full 18-month sentence, right, he served 13 months, got 5 months for good behavior. I mean, in reality, did he really actually serve any fucking time? This is how corrupt the actual like prison system can be. If you've got the money, you've got the connections, congratulations, you don't have to serve jail time. And it makes me wonder, obviously, I don't think Ghislaine Maxwell is going to get a similar deal because she's so high profile. Remember, this is before Jeffrey Epstein was like, his mugshot was shared around the world. Obviously, I don't think Ghislaine Maxwell is going to come out, but honestly, given the track record of everything going on today, I wouldn't be shocked if even today, after I upload this video, that bitch gets to walk out of jail and fuck around in life. That
Pretty sure
would be
that if she
shocking.
can.
I mean, not really shocking. That would just be something that I expect, given how fucked up the world is these days. But ladies and gentlemen, the Epstein cover-up is actually unraveling. People are asking the questions, people are looking at all this information for themselves, and people are
Conflicting claims. Work released in August 20 and based on alleged Bureau and Prison BOP, Maxwell has been granted work release status with a custody level marked as out, which could allow her to leave the federal prison camp FPC Bryan in Texas for approving work assignments. This claim suggested a rare waiver of her public safety factor, designated as a sex offender, which typically prohibits such inmates from minimum security facilities or work release programs. Denied these claims, stating they were another false rumor. Okay, that's her lawyer. Official silence. The BOP, the Department of Justice, DOJ, have not officially confirmed or denied the work release claims. Current status: Brian offers more lenient conditions such as dormitory. Okay, yeah, dormitory style housing and fewer physical barriers. You're basically in a room and you can buy shit from the prison, like books, TVs, iPads, and knowing the amount of money she may have, she probably has a pretty damn nice cell, if you can even call it that. Uh, there's no definitive evidence. See, I heard it from this shit, which is fucking weird. Uh, oh, they what? Related note: the House commented Tuesday on federal court's decision to deny the release of grand jury transcripts related to Maxwell's case. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt called the ruling unfortunate and said the president supports releasing credible evidence in cases of public interest. As for the appeal process, I would send you to the Department of Justice for that. Leavitt added. Okay. Okay. So it says that she was given granted access. I don't truly know.
Actually deciding that, yeah, the government lied to us. The government is misrepresenting everything.
How's
And
how's it going, little nugget?
the best thing you can do is not hold up, not stop talking about it. No matter where you live, you don't have to be an American to care about this. I care about this because I know that people from Canada, people that run my country, were probably involved in this stuff too. And if those people can be stopped, I highly beg, I highly
100%.
implore some magical thing happens in the United States where people like that face some actual repercussions.
No, yeah,
But
you
ladies and
can't
gentlemen, this is me,
fucking
Mudahar, and if you like what
you
you saw,
can't
please
you can't let these people live a comfortable life in prison. No, they did some fucked up shit, and they should pay the price for it. And with that,
like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it.